Teacher, I have
Yes.
started the video. You can commence with your class. We have got 28 participants at the moment.
Okay. So we shouldn't start at 2 o'clock exactly.
Yes.
I'm thinking maybe they're still joining. Uh, okay. Nice. Fine. I'll start. Hopefully they won't ask me to re-explain again. All right. Okay. It's fine. It's a minute too, so I'll start. Okay. Good afternoon, grade fours. Mem Maluleke, I'm going to take you for grade 4 mathematics. And then I just want us to go through some rules. If sorry, Hardy, if maybe we can close their videos, because I'm seeing others are sweeping. Yes, and then the charts, grade fours. When I ask you a question, okay, you guys are going to answer on the charts. But let's refrain from greeting each other on the charts. Let's use the chat for maths related work. Okay, I see a hand raised, just double checking if we're in the right link. So if we hear for grade formats, just check if you're on the right link. So yesterday, okay, let's see here what that one is saying, ma'am. It's Cullen. There was a hand raised. Okay, so those that were here.
Gate van Heerden, unmuted.
Oh, okay. No, we are in the right class. So I'll start and then the questions, we're going to take them later. Okay, I see it's the right grade because I see some faces here. All right, so those that were here yesterday, grade fours, we started on rounding off, and yesterday we rounded off to the nearest 10 and to the nearest 100. So there was an interesting question that came up yesterday. Someone asked if we're rounding off to the nearest 10, why do we have a number that is 4-digit number? So I was actually thinking about that while I was at home, and I realized the misconception. So we can round off any number to 10 or to 100. It doesn't matter whether the number is a 2-digit number or it's a 3-digit number. So someone was asking, why do we round off this number to the nearest, but it doesn't have the same number of digits as the number that we're rounding off. So I wanted to clear that misconception. So it doesn't matter what number we have. If it's 3 to the nearest 1,000, so it means our answer will be 0. So we can round off any number to any place value. So I hope, I don't remember the person that asked, so I hope that person, the misconception has been cleared. So yesterday we did rounding off to the nearest 10 and to the nearest 100. So today we're going to round off to the nearest 1,000. So let's look at the success criteria. What is it that you guys will know at the end of the lesson? So you know how to round off to the nearest 10, and then you're going to understand. We're also going to look at the rounding off and estimation method, and then you understand why we have to estimate in maths, because we're going to look at that, rounding off and estimating. So if yesterday maybe you were lost with the rounding off, you can take me back when you're given the opportunity to ask questions. So you can take me back and then you can ask if you had a misconception about rounding off to 10 and to 100. So today, we're looking at rounding off to the nearest 1,000. Those that were here yesterday, you remember the rounding coaster. So, and I explained how the rounding coaster works. So I said if the number is 1, 2, 3, 4, we round down, and then if it's 5 to 9, we round up. But then there are other steps that you guys have to do before you can actually check if the number is 1 to 4 or is 5 to 9. So if you use the rounding coaster, if you use the rounding coaster, you can apply it to rounding off to 10, to 100, to 1,000, as long as you have mastered how it works. So it doesn't matter whether you have a 2-digit number or 3-digit number. If you use the rounding coaster, you're going to be able to round off to 10, to 100, and to 1,000. So I would really urge you guys to really look at how it works, because yesterday people were giving me answers and some of them were not right because they did not apply routine. So rounding off is not, you cannot guess. It's not about guessing. With rounding off, you really have to follow the routine. And if you follow the routine, you're going to, or the steps, let me just use the word steps. If you follow the right steps, you're going to get the right answer. So if you follow the steps of the rounding coaster, you're also going to get the right answer. Okay. So now I gave you a number there, 2,727, and we are rounding off to the nearest 1,000. I hope some of you still remember. I hope some of you still remember how to use the rounding coaster. So the first step that you have to do is to find the number. So because I said yesterday, if we're rounding off to the nearest 1,000, my co-host, if we can mute the videos of the learners, because I see there's for Jordan and for Joy, if we can mute the videos. Okay, also learners, if you mute the videos, it also saves the data, and it also makes your connectivity to be fast. So I would really love if you guys would mute the videos, because it becomes distractive for other learners. They'll end up watching you and not listening to what I'm saying. So you'll see on the left hand side of your screen, there is a video icon. Just press it so that your video is blocked. And then we're not going to have any distractions. Okay, I'm still left with Jordan. If Jordan can mute the video for me, I would really appreciate that. So the number, as I said, it's 2,727 to the nearest 1,000. So the first thing that we have to do, we have to find the number. So the number, we remember we're rounding off 2,000. So the number that we're talking about, we're actually talking about thousands. So on this number, on the 2,727, you just have to find out which ones are the thousands. So find the number is 2, because 2, the place value of 2 is thousands. And then after finding the number, we have to look right, or look to the right next door. So the next door of 2 here, we can see is 7. So number 1, we find the number. So when we're rounding off to the nearest 100, it means you have to find the hundreds. If we're rounding off to the nearest 10, it means we have to find the tens. Now we are rounding off to 1,000, so it means we have to find the thousands, because we're rounding off to the nearest 1,000. I hope you understand that. So we find the number is 2, and then we look next door of 2, we look right of 2, and we find 7. And then you ask yourself, is 7 bigger or smaller than 5? So that is the next step. 5 or more, we have to add 1 more, and then 4 or less, we let it rest. So what can we say about 7? Is 7 5 or more, or is it 4 or less? I'm sure if you're paying attention, really, you can see that 7 is 5 or more. And then what is the rule of 5 or more? It says we have to add 1 more. And you ask yourself, why do we add this 1 more? Because we're rounding off to the nearest 1,000. It means we have to add 1 more on the thousands. So we add 1 more on the thousands, and then we had 2 on the thousands. If we add 1 more on the thousands, we'll say 2 plus 1, and then is 3. We've added 1 more on the thousands. Now let's read the last rule. The last rule says, from the arrow, so this is the arrow here. The arrow is here on the 7. From the arrow, we change to zeros. So 7, because that is where, remember when we looked right next door, we drew an arrow next door. So from 7, we have to change 7 to be a 0. We change 2 to be a 0, and then we change the 7 to be a 0. So the only number that stays is the one that we have rounded down or rounded up. And in this case, we have rounded up. So we say 2 plus 1, and then we got 3. And then everything changed to zeros. So now the answer is 3,000. And then I said, for you to double check if your answer is right, you have to check if we are rounding off to the nearest 1,000. It means we must have how many zeros at the end? 1,000 have how many zeros? Yes, 1,000 have 3 zeros. So your answer should also have 3 zeros. So if we're rounding off to the nearest 100, 100 have 2 zeros. So your answer should have 2 zeros. So that is you double checking if your answer is right. Okay, Nolutando, if admin, you can unmute Nolutando for me, please. Okay, is Nolutando unmuted?
Piteki kapena Absa mwina mungofusa poti
Okay,
mabota
Noluthando,
koma ngati
is that
FNB
you?
it's fine.
Okay, I think the parents are having a conversation on the background. Noluthando? Okay, we can,
Ndipaisa ngati mukunditumizira
we
ma
can
message
mute
kuti
Noluthando.
afuna nditumize deposit slip chani. Basi
Okay,
ndavuvuta
okay,
iyi.
we can mute Noluthando again.
Musabati nene tu apa tino.
Hi, ma'am.
Okay. Yes, Noluthando. All right, I'll continue. I hope everyone can hear me because I was muted there for a minute. All right, so we move on to, I gave you another example because we cannot take one example and run away with it. So the number that we have there is 2,727, and we are rounding it off to the nearest 1,000. So we go through the rules again. Number one says we have to find the number. So remember, we are rounding off to the nearest 1,000. So we have to find the thousands. So in this case, no, it's still the same number. Okay. Oh, here is the second example. Yes. So the number is 8,345. So number one, we find the number. So the number, the thousands, because we're rounding off to the nearest thousand, is 8. And then we look right next door. So we have to look to the right. Next door, what is next door of 8? Is 3. And then when we have found 3, these are the questions that we have to ask ourselves about the 3. If 3 is 5 or more, we have to add 1 more. But if 3 is 4 or less, we have to let it rest. So what can we say about the 3? Is 3 5 or more, or is 3 4 or less? So if you say 3 is 4 or less, you got it right. So 3 is 4 or less, and then we have to let it rest. What is this let it rest? We are letting the thousands rest because we are rounding off to the nearest thousands. And then the last one is from the arrow, and the arrow is at 3, we have to change everything to zeros. So our arrow starts from 3, 3 becomes a 0, 4 becomes a 0, 5 becomes a 0. So then remember, we did not change the 8 because 3 was small. So our answer is then 8,000. So that is how, so in this case, we did not round up, but we actually rounded down. So we rounded down. 8 did not change because 3 was 4 or less. So 3 falls under, it's less than 4, less than 5 actually. So that is rounding off to the nearest 1,000. Now, okay, this is the time for you to raise your hand. And then we round off together to the nearest 1,000. Now, what I would like to ask from you guys, I would like you to go through the rounding coaster. When you are answering, I want you to go through the rounding coaster. So when, like for example, number A, you say, because we're rounding off to nearest 1,000, and then you say, ma'am, we'll find the number, and then the number, which is 1,000. I'm also going to help you, so don't be scared. I'll help you where you are getting stuck so that you actually understand this answer. Okay, what I would like from the host, I see 4 people have raised their hand. When you unmute someone, just tell us who is unmuted so that the learners can talk, because some of them cannot see that they're unmuted. So maybe when you unmute someone, just tell us Noluthando is unmuted so that that person can talk. So admin, you can unmute someone for me. I saw there were 4 raised hands.
Noluthando?
Okay, thank you, Noluthando. You've been unmuted.
Teacher, I cannot seem to unmute him. I think the problem is on his side.
Yeah, we can, yeah, let's mute Noluthando again, and then we unmute the next learner.
Cannot unmute Noluthando.
Okay, what about, I see Sana.
Sana?
Yes, Sana had a hand raised.
Unmuted?
Yes, Sana. Hi, Sana, you can answer.
Hi, ma'am.
Hi, Sana.
Hi. Are we going to like which page must we learn?
Okay, for now, remember this is an online lesson. So for now, you are going with me, and then when you are done, you can, I don't know which textbook you are using, but whatever that you are doing here, it's on the textbooks. So for now, we are not on any page, but we are on the, I don't know whether you're using a PC or a computer. So we are doing the sums that I've given you on the PC.
I'm using an iPad.
Okay, so on your iPad. So I want you to answer the question that is on your iPad. So number A, so that is the sum that I'm talking about, the one that is on the iPad. So would you like to answer for us 9,320 to the nearest 1,000?
9,300.
Remember what I just explained about the rounding coaster? Or do you want to give someone a chance, someone to answer?
Give someone a chance.
Okay, all right. Now who is unmuted
Zoe?
for us? Zoe.
Where? I can only unmute me.
Okay, who is unmuted, ma'am?
It's 9,000.
Okay, but how do we get 9,000? Tell us about the rounding coaster. How do we get to 9,000?
Because 3 is small.
Okay,
and
because 3 is small.
And 9 is bigger.
Okay, do you still remember what the rounding coaster said? I'll just go back to it. Remember, number 1 says we must find the number. So which number are we finding here? Which number should we find on 9,320?
We should find 9.
Yes, well done, because 9 is thousands, ne? And then what does the second step say? Where do we look?
You look at the next number.
Yes, so we look at the next number. And which one is the next number?
3.
Yes, it's 3. And then what do we ask ourselves about 3? What questions do we ask ourselves?
Is 3 smaller
Than which number?
than 9?
Is 3 smaller than which number? Remember now the rounding coaster says if 5 or more, we add 1, and then 4 or less, we let it rest. So is 3 smaller than which number? Do we still have you there?
Yes.
Okay, so 3 is, so we'll ask ourselves, is 3 smaller than 5? Is 3 smaller than 5?
No.
Which number is bigger between 3 and 5?
9.
No, between 3 and 5?
5.
5. So 3 is smaller than 5, right?
Yes.
And then if 3 is smaller than 5, do we add a 1 on the 9?
Yes.
No, we do not, my dear. We do not add a 1. We only add a 1 if this 3 is bigger than 5. So if this was 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, that's where we're going to add a 1. Remember, you said
Okay.
the answer is 9,000. So 9,000
Yes.
was right. But I wanted to know, how did you get the 9,000? Ne? Because I want you to get
Yes.
all your rounding off sums. But thank you for the answer. Okay, who else have got their hands raised for number B? You can unmute one of them, ma'am.
Kabenua.
Avendua. Okay, Ave, you are unmuted.
Let's go to Bocello.
Yes. Butilo, you are unmuted. You can start talking. So the number that you're looking at is 1,409. What is the first step, Ave? Oh, it's Buchilo now. Yes, Buchilo, what is the first step?
The first step is that you must look at the 1000s.
Yes, we must find the number, and the number is?
The number is 1000.
Yes, it's 1. And then the second step, what is the second step?
The second step is you must look at the second. You must look at the second.
You must look next door, ne? Which is the second number, yes. And what is the number next door?
The number next door is 4.
Yes. And then what do we ask ourselves about this 4?
If the 4 is going up or down.
Okay, so if the 1 is going to go up or down, what is going to happen? Because the number next door is 4. So what is going to happen? Is this 1 going to go up or down?
It's going to go down.
Okay, so it's not going to change. We let it rest. And what happens to the 4 and the 0 and the 9?
They all turn into zeros.
Well done. So what is our answer?
1000.
1000. Well done, Butilo, for listening. Thank you so much for answering. And then can we get someone for number C? Someone for number C? I saw the, okay, this. What do we have?
Petegu.
Okay, yes, you can talk.
We were commenting a lot. Someone muted. Ma'am,
Okay, you can answer. Yes.
ma'am, are we answering question
Number
C?
C. Yes, question C.
Ma'am,
Number
are we
1.
going to round off to the nearest 100 or?
We are rounding off to the nearest 1000. So let's use those rules of the rounding Costa. What does rule number 1 say? We have to do what?
Ma'am, there is no thousands on the next.
Yes, well done. Well done. There is no thousands. So it says we must find the number, right?
Yes,
And
ma'am.
then where will thousands be? If there were thousands, where were they going to be?
Ma'am, in the front.
In front of 5. Well done. That is step number 1. Well done for seeing that there is no thousands. So we move on to step number 2. If the thousands are going to be in front, which one is next door? Which one would be next door of thousands?
Ma'am, the hundreds.
The hundreds. And which number is on the hundreds?
500.
500, yes. And then we move on to step number 3. What does step number 3 say? 5 or more, we have to add what?
Ma'am, if it's 5 or more, we need to add 1 to the 1000. If it's 4 or less, we keep the number the same.
Well done. So now let's talk. We said we don't have any thousands. So can we write a 0 here? Can you pretend that it's a 0 here because we don't have any thousands? We have 0 thousands, right?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. So now because the number is 5 or more, then we have to add 1 next door. So it means here instead of a 0, what are we going to have?
Ma'am, it's going to be a 1.
Well done. And what happens to the 5 and the 6 and the 9?
Ma'am, they all turn into zeros.
Well done. And the answer will be?
1000.
Well done. So can you see that even if the number doesn't have thousands, we can still round it off to the nearest 1000? Can you see it's possible?
Yes, ma'am.
And this can only happen if you are applying the rules of the rounding Costa. I am so proud of you. Well done. Okay, I see people are still raising their hands. There's still more sums that we're going to do, so you get the chance to answer. Okay, we're going to move on to the next slide. So those hands that are raised, you can keep them like that. Now, I just explained how we round off to the nearest 1000. Okay, our last person that spoke, I love that you went through the rules, and I want people when they answer, I want them to go through the rules so that it can stick in your brain or it can stick in your mind. So here I gave you one number. So it means I'm going to have 3 people that are going to answer. So you're going to take this number. First, you're going to round it off to the nearest 10. I hope it answers that learner that said, ma'am, how do we answer to the nearest 10 if we have 4 numbers? I want that person to see that it is possible. The second person that will answer, you're going to round off to the nearest 100. Still the same number. And then the last person that is going to answer, you are going to round off to the nearest 1000. Do we understand? So as you raise your hand, I want you, if they unmute you, I want you to go back to those rules. Ma'am, we find the number, we look right next door, and then if the number is 5 or more, we add the 1. I want you to go through that. And if you do that, by all means, you would have conquered this rounding off thing. Okay, so let's see those hands that are raised, and then admin will tell us who is unmuted. And then when they say your name is unmuted, please talk so that we can save time.
Naledi?
Naledi, you
Yes,
are
ma'am.
unmuted. Yes, Naledi. Okay, so I'll just explain to you. The number that we're rounding off is 2,536, and we are rounding it off to the nearest 10, Naledi.
Yes, ma'am.
Let's go.
You,
You can answer.
you first look at the thousands.
We are rounding off to the nearest tens, Naledi.
You first look at the first number.
Which ones are tens in the number, Naledi?
2.
In this number? Okay, what is the place value of 6, Naledi? 6. What is the place value of 6? 6 is it hundreds? Is it tens? Is it units?
It is units.
It's units. And then 3
It's tens.
is tens. And we are rounding off to the nearest what? Naledi, are you still with us? Okay, I think Naledi is gone. Can we unmute someone else?
Dylan?
Okay, Dylan. Yes, Dylan, you are unmuted. You can talk. We are rounding this first number to the nearest 10, Dylan.
Dylan is gone. Let's go for Zoe.
Zoe, you are live?
Yes.
Yes, so we are rounding off this number to the nearest 10.
Okay.
Mhm.
The answer is 2,530.
Okay, the answer is not right. What I want you to do, Zoe, is to go through the steps. I said, what is the first step?
You
We
have to look at the number.
Yes, and the number, because we're rounding off to the nearest 10, which one is tens on this number?
3.
Is 3, yes. And then the second step says we must look where?
You must look at the number.
No, we must
You
look.
must look at the units.
Yes, which is next door. And what number is the unit, Zoe?
6.
Yes, well done. And then what do we ask ourselves about this 6? Why are we looking at this 6?
You must ask yourself if it is bigger than the 3.
No, if it is bigger than 5.
If it is bigger than 5.
Yes, and is 6 bigger than 5?
Yes.
Okay, so if 6 is bigger than 5, what is going to happen to the 3? What do we do on the 3?
It's going to change to a 4.
Well done. And then what happens to the 6?
Changes to a 0.
Well done. So you see why your answer was wrong. Do you see why your answer was wrong? So what is the right answer now?
2,540.
Well done. You can clap hands for yourself, Zoe. You have done well. Yes. Okay, can we have someone else to answer rounding off to the nearest 100? Grade 4s, I will emphasize again. Rounding off, we have to go through the steps. If you missed the steps, you can tell me, we can go back to the steps so that people can answer correctly. Okay, what do we have unmuted?
Laurentia.
Laurentia, Yes, Laurentia, this is not the first time you are answering.
Ma'am, rounding to 2,560 and 36, rounding up to the nearest 100 equals to 206.
Okay, let's go through the steps. Laurentia, I don't want to hear the answer now. Let's go through the steps. What is the first thing that you must do? Because I think if we're giving the answers, other learners don't understand how we come to the answers. So what is the first thing that you must do, Laurentia?
You should look at the 100.
And which one is the 100?
500.
Yes, and then what do you do next?
We look if it's 4, it's lower. If it's 5, it's higher, meaning that
if what? If which number? If which number is 5 or lower or 4 lower, which number are we talking about now?
500.
No, try again. We look at the 100, so we find the number. We found the number is 500. And then step number 2 say we must look where?
Is it 5 or higher?
No, we must look next door, Laurentia. And the next door of 5 is 3. We must look next door, and next door 5 is 3. That's when we ask, after we have looked next door, that's when we ask if it is 5 or higher. So is 3 5 or higher? Laurentia, are you still with us? Is 3 5 or higher? Is 3 5 or higher?
It's lower, ma'am.
Yes, so what happens to the hundreds?
It changes into a 6, basically.
No, it does not change. Because it's lower, it does not change. So it means this 5 remains the same. So what will be the answer be?
500.
No, the whole answer. I think the people on your background are disturbing your attention. Okay,
No,
let's
they're
have
not.
someone else to try to answer that. Let me not give the answer. I see there's 6 hands that are raised. Let's try someone else. Who do we have unmuted?
Kabenua.
Kabelo. Okay, Kabelo, yes. Do you want to answer for us 2,536 to the nearest 100? Kabelo, you unmuted? Okay, we can unmute someone else.
Selepi.
Selepi. Okay, Selepi, you are unmuted. You can answer for us, my dear.
Yes, ma'am. The answer is 2,500.
Okay, but how did you get to the answer? The answer is right, but how did you?
I look at the tens.
Okay, what was the first thing that you did before you looked at the tens? What made you to look at the tens? We are rounding off to the nearest what? To the nearest?
100.
Yes, and which ones are the hundreds? Which ones are the hundreds here?
500.
Yes, and then you looked at the tens. And then what did you say about the tens?
They are small.
Smaller than which number?
5.
Yes. So does the 5 become a 6?
No.
Okay, it doesn't. So it stays as 5. And what happens to the 3 and the 6? It changes to?
They go down to 0.
Yes, they become 0. And then the answer will be?
2,500.
Well done, Silebi. Thank you for answering. Okay, let's have someone answer for us. Before you give us the answer, grade 4s, say how we got the answer. I saw there were hands raised. Who is unmuted?
Nokwandu.
Nogwandu. Okay. Yes, Nogwandu?
Ma'am, you first look at the thousands and
Yes.
then you look next door.
Well
And
done.
since it's 5 upwards, we add 1 to 2. And now instead of 2, we're going to have 3, and then 5, 3, and 6 turn into zeros.
Wow, simply explained. Wow, and the answer is?
3,000.
Well done, Nogwandu. I'm so proud of you. You were paying attention. Thank you so much. You are right. Thank you so much, Nogwandu. You explained it the way that I just explained. I am so proud of you.
Thank you. Yes, ma'am.
Okay. So I'm just going to introduce the addition, but we're still going back to rounding off. I'm still stressed because some of you are not getting the round off properly, and this is stressing me a lot. But then let's see when we estimate what happens, because we're still on rounding off, but now we're going to use rounding off to add. My problem is if you cannot round off properly, it's going to be a problem for you to estimate the answers. So that is why I came back to rounding off again on day 2. And then what I've seen, I'm just getting the sneak peeks of videos. I see some of you are walking around, and then some of you are not really paying attention to what we're saying. And this is going to make you to struggle with the following topics, because everything is linking. And as I said, grade 4s, whatever that I'm teaching you today or every day, you also, it's things that you're supposed to learn in term 2 already. So it's in your textbooks already. So if you're not paying attention now, you are going to have a problem when you go back to class, because your teacher, when they teach you, instead of you saying, "Ma'am, I know this," your teacher is going to reteach you again. So I'm appealing to you guys, sit still, get a pen and a paper, and then listen. And if you see that in your house where you stay, the adults are talking, move to your room or ask them maybe for this time to be quiet so that you can concentrate properly. Because if you're not paying attention, you're not going to get what I'm teaching you. And it pains my heart if people are not getting things right. And I'm also glad for those that are getting things right, because it shows to me that they are listening. So it would be nice, the 55 of you, or the 56 now, the 56 of you, if we can just sit and then ask where you don't understand, because I don't want to move on to the next thing and then people did not understand. You understand grade 4s. So sit still and pay attention. So
Teacher,
we want to still look at
5 minutes, sorry, 10 minutes to end.
Yes, ma'am. Thank you so much. So we're going to look at estimating by rounding off. But rounding off again, if you didn't master it, you'll see here on the next activity, we're going to round off. So estimating, we need to round off. So you have to understand the rounding off. So to estimate is not just guessing any answer that comes to your mind. To estimate means we have to find the value that is close enough to the right answer. So we do this by rounding off. You see rounding off is coming up, and now it's addition. See rounding off is coming up, and then we do this by rounding off sums. We're actually estimating a close enough answer. And then when we round off sums, it makes it easier for us to add them. And then I'll show you how. Okay, so your teacher will tell you which number, always your teacher will tell you which number you have to round off to. So you'll be told to either round off to 10, to round off to 100, or to round off to 1000. So let's look at the example there, 103. So the question is estimate the answers by rounding off to the nearest 100. So you have to round off 103 to the nearest 100, and then you round off 791 to the nearest 100. So you see, I'm coming back again with the rounding off. That's why it's very important that you understand the rounding off. So who wants to round off this number for us? Okay, I see when you raise your hand, you have to raise your hand on the app, not raising your hand like physically. Okay. On these 6 minutes left, we are going to look at just those two numbers, rounding off to the nearest 100. And remember to go back to what I've taught you. Find the number, look next door, and then if the number is 5 or more, we add 1, and if it's 4 or less, we let it rest. Okay, so whose hand is up? Who did we unmute for these 6 minutes that are left? Okay, who is talking?
Naledi.
Naledi. Okay, Naledi, yes. 103. Let's go through the steps before we say the answer, Naledi.
Ma'am, we are going to look at the unit first.
We are rounding off to what, Naledi? What number are we rounding off to?
To the 100.
Yes. So number 1 says you must find the number. So which ones are the hundreds in the number, Naledi?
9.
No, we are looking at 103. There is no 9 there. Which ones are the hundreds in the number 103?
1.
Yes. And then what does the second step say? What is the next door of 1?
0.
Yes. And then what do we ask ourselves about the 0? Is 0 5 or more, or is it 4 or less?
4 or less.
Okay, so what happens to the 1 if 0 is 4 or less? Does the 1 change?
No.
Okay, so what will be the answer then? 103 to the nearest 100. What is the answer then? Naledi?
Ma'am?
What is the answer then?
100 and
What is
20.
the answer? 120.
Yes, ma'am.
No, Naledi, the answer is 100. Because remember I said 100 have 2 zeros, so your answer should have 2 zeros also. Ne, Naledi?
Yes,
Yes.
ma'am.
Okay. Yes. Let's have the last person to answer 791 to the nearest 100. Okay, who is unmuted?
Ma'am?
Yes, who am I talking to?
Zoe.
Zoe, yes, Zoe. Take us through.
Ma'am, so you have to look at the hundreds.
Yes, so we found the number. So which number is the hundreds?
Pardon?
Which number is the hundreds?
7.
Well done. And then after looking at the number?
After looking at the hundreds, you look at the tens.
Well done. And then what about the tens?
You have to see if it's bigger than 5.
Is it bigger than 5?
Yes.
So what happens to the hundreds if it's bigger than 5?
The hundreds, you're gonna add 1.
Yes. So now how many hundreds do we have?
We have 700.
Yeah, what will be the answer? If we add 1, what will be the answer?
To be 891.
No, remember, so what happens to the 9 and the 1? They become?
They change a 0.
Well done. So what is the answer now?
800.
Yes, the answer is 800. So then it means we have 100 plus, don't go Zoe, what is 100 plus 800?
100 plus 800 is
What is the
900.
answer? Is
900.
900. Yes, well done, Zoe. So you can see that we rounded off 100 to the nearest 103 to the nearest 100, and we got 100. And then 791 to the nearest 100, we got 800. So if we add them together, we are going to get 900, as Zoe have told us. So this is what is called an estimated answer. So grade 4s, can you please ask your parents to play this video again for you so that when you come tomorrow, you know how to round off. And remember my talk about you sitting still, please sit still so that you can understand. So tomorrow, because we didn't finish today's lesson, we're going to continue with rounding off and estimation. So we're going to do the same thing, rounding off. If you master that, then it's going to be easier for us to go through addition using the rounding off. There is another topic in addition called rounding off and compensation. So if we do not master rounding off, we cannot move on to that topic. So let's go back and revise, guys. And then I'm going to see you tomorrow. Please be on time. We're starting at 2 o'clock. So be on time, and then I'm going to see you guys tomorrow. Bye.